They stopped the wrong spaceship. Minutes later, 5,000 of the Emperor's soldiers arrived with a captain. The border checkpoint at Zeltoran Outpost was usually quiet. Built on a floating asteroid station, it was a final customs point before ships crossed into the territory of the Imperium, the largest galactic empire in known space. Security was tight but routine. Until today, the patrol ship Osprey V was scanning all vessels inbound from the neutral territories. One ship caught their eye, a weathered cargo freighter with forged registry tags, low-grade shielding, and unregistered weapon signatures. "Looks shady," muttered Lieutenant Heron. "Probably smugglers." Commander Drell nodded. "Hail them. Prepare to board." The freighter didn't respond to hails. Instead, it began a slow, evasive drift. That was enough. "Engage tractor beam," Drell ordered. "Let's show them what happens when you ignore Imperium laws." The Osprey latched onto the freighter and pulled it in. The security team suited up, armed with plasma rifles and attitude. 5 guards entered the docking tunnel and breached the freighter's main bay. Inside, dim lighting, crates, silence. Then, a single man stepped forward, unarmed, tall, dark uniform scorched with plasma burns, and a battered insignia on his shoulder that none of the guards immediately recognized. He held up empty hands. "You've made a mistake," he said calmly. "Hands on your head," a guard barked. The man obeyed. "Who are you?" asked Lieutenant Heron, scanning his badge. He read the name, frowned, then paled. "See Captain Vurick." Drell's voice came over comms. "What's going on down there?" "You're not going to believe this," Heron muttered. Captain Vurick of the 3rd Flame Legion had been listed as missing in action for nearly a year after the Battle of Karn. Rumors said he was dead. Others claimed he was captured. None had guessed the truth. He had escaped enemy territory, single-handedly hijacked a ship, and was en route to report critical information until this unfortunate detainment. "I need direct comms of the Emperor," Vurick said, eyes cold. "Now." The guards hesitated. Lieutenant Heron tapped his comm. "Commander, he's requesting." Before he could finish, the station lights flickered. Sirens howled. "Multiple warp signatures incoming," someone shouted from control. "Over 5,000 vessels just dropped out of FTL." "What?" Drell barked. "From where?" Then the fleet came into view. Imperial warships, frigates, destroyers, even a capital dreadnought bearing the insignia of the Emperor's own guard. "Stand down," a voice boomed over every comms channel. "This is Captain Lennox of the Imperial Vanguard. You will release Captain Vurick immediately." Lieutenant Heron's jaw dropped. They mobilized the entire 12th Armada? Drell stumbled backward in the command room. For one man? Down in the docking bay, the guards quickly unshackled Vurick. "I told you," he said coolly. "You stopped the wrong ship." As he stepped out of the freighter, the docking corridor sealed behind him. A gunmetal transport descended onto the outpost's landing platform, flanked by shock troopers in black Imperial armor. From it emerged Captain Lennox himself, 7 feet tall, obsidian pauldron marked with crimson. His face was stern as stone. "Vurick," Lennox said, "you're alive." "Barely," Vurick answered. "And I brought information that could change the war." Lennox nodded. "We'll debrief en route. The Emperor wants you on the verdict at once." He cast a cold glance at the checkpoint officers. "Who authorized this detainment?" Commander Drell, having just arrived, stepped forward with trembling hands. We thought the freighter was hostile. The ID was fake." Captain Vurick was on a stealth mission. Lennox snapped. "Of course it was fake. I didn't know." "You didn't check. And for that, you risked the security of the entire Imperium." Then, to everyone's horror, Lennox raised a small holotag. The verdict had already been rendered. Commander Drell, by order of the Emperor, you are hereby relieved of duty and placed under investigation for negligence of the highest order. Escort him to the warden. 2 troopers grabbed Drell, who began protesting, but Lennox didn't spare him another glance. Instead, he turned to Vurick. We have a clean room and med team prepped. Your wounds. No time, Vurick interrupted. The alliance between the Zenthari and the Hollow Suns has begun. They're preparing to strike Carnagan, but this time with void piercers. I have proof. Ship logs. Transmissions. Lennox's eyes sharpened. Void piercers. Vurick handed him a small data chip. This is why I went dark. This is why I couldn't contact anyone. Lennox nodded, his tone grim. Then let's not waste another second. The verdict, flagship of the Emperor, was an awe-inspiring vessel, spanning kilometers, armed with weaponry that could vaporize moons. Vurick was escorted directly to the core chamber, where the Emperor's holographic throne shimmered above a field of radiant glyphs. When the Emperor's form materialized, everyone bowed, except Vurick. He saluted. Captain Vurick, reporting your radiance. The Emperor's voice was deep and metallic, layered with a synth-organic undertone. You have returned from the dead bearing fire. Speak. Vurick knelt and placed the chip into the console. Images projected across the chamber. Fleets of Hollow Sun ships arming strange crystalline weapons. Zenthari envoys shaking claws with void-born monstrosities. Target maps labeled with Imperium coordinates. The Emperor's silence was thunderous. Then he turned to Lennox. Deploy every fleet to Sector 19. Double planetary defenses. No one else must see this until I speak to the High Senate. He turned back to Vurick. You have done what no other could. You carried our future in your blood and brought it back with bone and grit. What do you ask in return? Vurick looked up, surprised. Nothing, my Emperor. I serve. But the Emperor stared for a moment longer, eyes glowing. Even the strongest soldier must be recognized. I name you Praetor of the Seventh Flame. You will lead the next strike against the Hollow Suns. Lennox's eyes widened. The title was reserved for legends. I will not fail, Vurick said quietly. The Emperor nodded. And those who delayed your return shall be reminded. The Imperium does not abandon its own, nor tolerate insult to its heroes. Back at Zeltorin, the Osprey V had been grounded. The checkpoint was under full review. Drell sat alone in a cold cell, stripped of rank and waiting judgment. Outside, the galaxy buzzed. 5,000 ships had arrived in a show of unmatched force, all for one man, because they'd stopped the wrong freighter. And they had forgotten a simple truth. In the Imperium, one soldier loyal to the Emperor is worth an army.